What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards. Welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. And this episode is about all the biggest losers: Arsenal, Man City, and Liverpool. Teams all considered top teams at the beginning of the season. Two of them still are. One of them definitely ain't. They all lost this weekend. Man United won. We'll discuss that. Casemiro's red. We'll discuss that. South Chelsea tying on Friday. How now, based on the results of all the rest of the teams, how Neil might feel a little bit better about that. And we'll talk about Southampton losing. Brentford had their way with them, and Nathan Jones gives very interesting, to say the least, press conference at the end of the game. And we're going to see how Lee feels about that. I don't feel it's that bad. I think it's a good thing. But Lee says I'm in the minority, so we'll get to that. So let's talk. Martin's not here. He was here this morning. He came to the crib to watch the Spurs versus Tottenham game. But before I discuss that, let me introduce Neil Chakrabarty, stand-up comic, Chelsea fan. The sun is killing him in his podcast, Wine Cellar. But what's up, fam? You good?
I found a good corner.
You found a good corner. All right, good. And we got Lee Hudson, stand-up comic from England. He's not wearing the colors today. It's all black, funeral
He's in
style.
black. He's in morning.
Funeral fit today.
Yeah, funeral fit, baby. Cap and everything. How you feeling? Or is that a terrible question to ask?
Oh, I'm feeling like I'm going to be watching Championship football next season.
oh, shit. Damn, bro. Man,
I mean, I'm watching it right now. I'm just watching it in the Premier League. I'm watching Championship football in the Premier League. Next year, I can watch it in the Championship.
How you think you're doing in the Championship next year? You think you got a chance to come right back up?
It depends who our manager is.
He got a Championship manager right now.
It shows.
It shows. All right. So it's so tempting to go there right now, but let's just deal with this Man City Tottenham game. It was the biggest game of the weekend, besides seeing Chelsea play Fulham with all their new cast of players, the recast of Chelsea. But let's go to Tottenham versus Man City. And I'm kind of surprised that, that Spurs pulled it off, but they had this special zest about them that they normally don't have. And they had it for an entire game. And even though Man City had most of the possession, I feel like I got to go back at the stats, but it looked like from the eye test that Spurs outshot them and created more chances. So you could keep the ball, City, but it feels like Spurs really benefited from the no manager bounce. Like Conte was in Italy having an operation, so he wasn't present. And the players really played, and he got a lot of people back, like Bentancur, Kulusevski was there, like some of their best players, with Son and Kane. And like, if they ever wanted a system to work, this looks like what Conte was working on the entire time, and it finally showed up against Man City at home, against for Spurs at home against Man City. And so Kane scores his a 266 or 267th goal for Spurs, passing Jimmy Greaves. Is it Jimmy Greaves?
Yeah.
So congratulations.
This is 200th Premier League goal as well, I think.
And it's 200th Premier League goal. So I just want to congratulate Spurs on their only trophy of one Spurs player passing another Spurs player. And everybody stuck around afterwards, and he spoke as if they won a title. And I guess this is as close to a title as Spurs is ever going to get, is one of their own breaking a record of another Spurs goal scoring record and also getting 200. So Spurs won two things today. They beat Man City, and Kane scored the winning goal, got his 267th goal, and is Spurs leading scorer all time. And the team all around, everybody putting an effort, good counterattacking football the way it should be. They got great chances out of it. They put away one of them. They pressed, and City's chances were not as good. But what do you guys think about how this game went?
I mean, best Spurs performance I've seen in a while. Like you were saying, they were sort of in it for the whole game. I think there was a couple of chances City could have taken. So the Mahrez one when he cut inside, and ended up hitting the bar, like that was a big chance. That one in the second half where it got cut back, but Spurs had a lot of bodies in the box, so they were able to throw the blocks in. But I mean, equally, Spurs could have scored more in this game as well. Even more so, probably. Like you say, they created chances. They had some big opportunities, and Ederson pulled off a couple of good saves. It was the most complete Spurs performance I've seen in a long time, and they were, I think, worthy winners. And Arsenal fans must be overjoyed that they've not lost any ground after their little shit show against Everton. So, I mean, City, there's real questions. Obviously, there was suggestions that things weren't quite right in the camp when Cancelo got shoved out the door, and then I mean, is Lewis quite up to it? I don't know. They should have been trying to maybe keep players like that in the team, but I mean, if the attitude's wrong, the attitude's wrong, and they just didn't look quite as fluid. Like you say, they had a lot of the ball, but they weren't really hurting Spurs that often. De Bruyne didn't start as well, so just a weird kind of vibe from City today. They weren't at their best, and they've just been really inconsistent this season, I think, and that's not what you expect from a Pep team. They got Haaland as well. They should be blowing teams away, but they're only doing it like now and again. And although he's been consistent with the goals, they've been inconsistent as a whole team, and he's proof that you can't be a one-man team. You need everything working.
I'm gonna ask Neil something. Neil, do you feel that the vibe is off at Man City, or is it just me and what Lee said? I don't know, man. There's just something that the vibe is off. The vibe is off when they win. So the shit feels off.
I mean, there's a lot of like strange decisions that Pep has made throughout the season, and you see them making these mistakes. Like today, like the goal they conceded, that was an unforced error, right? Like you're trying to play out of the back, and I think they played Tottenham a few games back, right? Earlier in the month, and
a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that was a game where Pep kind of like lost his cool. He went on a rant against his team after the game, even though they came back and won. So they conceded a goal that game to, I think, 1 or 2 goals, trying to play out the back and messing it up. And the same thing happened today. Errors in possession while playing out the back. And I sometimes wonder, like a few seasons ago, and like anytime I've seen him, like Laporte is probably one of the best ball-playing centre backs in Europe, and Pep regularly, like he doesn't play him in these, quote unquote big games. So, I think Akanji is a great talent. I think Ake obviously is having a great season. But when you're seeing a pattern of mistakes, why would you not use, somebody who you have who's actually really excellent at it?
Yeah, him and Diaz were on the bench. It's confusing. Yeah. It's like they get injured a lot, so why not play them when they're not injured?
Yeah,
I don't know if they just came back from injury though, and he's
Laporte has been available, and again Joe Cancelo is not in the team anymore. He got rid of him, so he's been making a lot of these changes, almost like is he trying to like shock his team into, he's noticed something that, the team is not at the level of motivation that he feels he needs to go in for this title. And he's trying to like shock people by making sure that nobody's comfortable. Like De Bruyne didn't start today.
Do you feel like he needs to, like, how he's looking at Ten Hag and he's looking at Arteta, and Arteta had to like get rid of Ozil and Aubameyang, and it shook up the team. And he's looking at Ten Hag, get rid of Ronaldo, and he's like, I need to do something to, like, because when his team did beat Spurs, he was like talking about the revival at Arsenal, a completely different game, a completely different team. After a game that he beat, a team came back and won Spurs. So you think he's trying to do that?
The thing is with Ozil, Aubameyang, and even like Ronaldo at United, these were issues where these are incidents and players where there were significant off the field disciplinary issues, right? That doesn't seem to be the case at Man City. It's more of, his complaint is more of like they don't have this drive, this motivation. I feel like that's the job of the manager. That's that man management, those soft skills. That's your job, right? So instead of, he should probably be doing his job instead of just shirking it and saying, "Oh, I'm just going to get somebody else to do it," because that comes with a drop off in quality.
You know what's worse than getting your shit together? Having your shit together. Because when you always trying to get your shit together, at least you know what direction to go in. But when you got your shit together, you kind of feel like, even though it is together, that it's not together because you're so used to it not being together. So then you start altering your shit when it's together. And Pep might be in that mode, like,
yeah, he's so overcomplicating it.
Yeah, overcomplicating something that he should just, like, last year, he panicked a little, and then at the moment when he stopped panicking, the team started doing well. And he should just be like, hey, there's enough games for me to beat Arsenal.
Yeah.
Let me just chill and just play these people and stop creating these issues. Because I feel like he has a pretty good group of professionals who actually just want to win for him. And I feel like he's the one who's throwing this off and not them.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's crazy, like, because Arsenal lost, right? That was not an expected loss. And you'd have thought the kind of City teams under Pep that we've been used to, they seize upon moments so well. Like, they'll find a little weakness in you and absolutely pounce. So you've seen your title rival drop 3 points. If you win, you go into within 2 points off them. And yeah, this, like, I would have thought this would be like the 2-0, 3-0 score line. Like, absolutely go for it. But yeah, in fact, you're right. Like, Spurs, I don't know what are the shots tally, but at least the better chances fell to Spurs, including the one that they scored off. Even for Man City, I think the best chance was that Mahrez one, but that was also like, was it that clear cut a chance, because he was quite a way off. He was on an angle. So even from like the chance perspective, I thought, Spurs kind of outplayed them.
Yeah, I'm looking at the shot chart. Spurs had 12 shots. City had 15. Spurs had 3 shots on target. City had 5. I don't even remember those 5. I just remember shots being kind of like shot and not really causing any trouble. And I remember Spurs, especially in the second half, the beginning of the second half, like really like breaking fast, like rapidly, like very professional, like, whoa. And hey, man, this is the type of, like, if Spurs is like playing the way they want to play, the right way, then City is the perfect team for them to face. You know what I mean? Because Spurs is like a big team with great forwards who play defensive football and fast break. But if they can apply the formula at a high level, they should be successful. And especially against a team like Man City, that's just attack, attack, attack. You got anything you want to say, Lee?
No, it's pretty much covered it. I mean, something's not right there. The decision making from Pep is definitely off, and I don't know what that's being influenced by.
Yeah. Let's go to, you brought up something. I want to enjoy this. Arsenal's loss to Everton.
Can't even enjoy it because Man City didn't take advantage of it.
But you can still enjoy it though, because Arsenal fans be like, I get it. Like,
well, United closed on both of them now.
Yeah. Like, yeah, but I don't I ain't going for that. I ain't going for that.
Title charge.
Right. Yeah, what type of title challenge is on one week and then off one week and then back on next week? Maybe that's how it is. But it was fun to see them lose. Like, I have a warning for Everton fans. You guys played an amazing game. You hired, for the first time, the perfect coach to coach it. Sean Dyche, with those players, I could see where it all fits. And I like who he started. Like, he made sure that midfield was rock solid, like defensively. And he stripped the ideology of the team play down to its basics. They play basic football with pretty decent players, especially with that midfield. And then it's like defend and counter and press when we can. And like, let's win some balls in the middle of the park. And then you guys take it from there. Like, you know how to pass the ball, you know how to find your teams, find your own players. And then once Everton like had the backing of the fans, which Sean Dyche has been asking for all week leading up to this, and he got it, and those players like realized we're hanging with Arsenal, they started to express themselves. Like, Onana was doing some amazing, I'm like, is this motherfucker Brazilian or something? He was doing stuff. Decore was back in the lineup. There's two players that Frank weren't playing that are back in the lineup, which goes to show you, if you ever replace Frank Lampard as a coach, find out the players he's not playing and put them back in. It happened at Chelsea with Alonso and Rudiger and some other players, and he came in and he said, Decore, Frank wasn't playing you, get your ass back in the lineup. And the other guy, I can't remember his name, and they balled out. And I don't think Arsenal had a bad game. I just think Everton had a more enthusiastic one. And it was the perfect storm for, if Arsenal was ever going to lose to Everton, it was going to be in Everton. It was going to be off the new coach bounce, off the perfect hire for them as a coach, and for like a rabid crowd ready to support their new coach and their new team. And there was something telling too, like Sean Dyche said he spoke to the players and they had these candid conversations, and some of the players said that they didn't like, he said this in a press conference or post, that some of the players didn't like what the former coaching staff or coach was doing. So he took that into account. So that's kind of like, he kind of threw Frank under the bus. But like, when it's like you trying to get all this shit and these players on your side, you can't give a fuck about the last guy. You got to do what you got to do and say what you got to say to like hypnotize these people into doing what you want to do. So it's kind of messed up, but hey, Sean Dyche is an experienced coach and he showed it. But my warning to Everton's fans is, this is what Everton does. The players, these are the same players. They'll play one game great for you and then disappear for 2 games. So that's the problem. Nobody's saying these guys can't ball, but they just can't ball consistently. And we're going to see if this is what they're going to do. What are you guys going to do? You players going to do for Dyche? Are you going to show up every week like this? Or are you going to take a vacation the next 2 games and then come back 1 game later? What do you guys think of this?
It'll be interesting to see whether or not it's like a 1 or 2 game new manager bounce, or if this is how they'll be till the end of the season. Because if this is how they can be till the end of the season, then they've got a great chance of staying up because they played so well. This wasn't a smash and grab. It wasn't a one chance and they took it kind of thing. They had some big chances.
They had the better chances
before and after the goal. Calvert-Lewin had a header which he should have got on target. There was another one where Calvert-Lewin slid in and didn't quite connect on the end of a cross from Onana. There was a couple of other big chances as well, and it was a really, really solid performance. And Arsenal weren't without their chances as well. There was one in the first half where Nketiah did really well to get in behind a couple of defenders, and then he didn't even hit the target. And maybe showing his sort of in a little bit of an experience there. But I mean, Everton full value for the win, in my opinion. And like you say, Dyche took them back to basics. He's been doing that this week with running them in training and making them sweat. And like I say, it depends whether or not that ends up being a short-term thing, because it's a shock to the system and the players are like, oh shit, we need to do this, and then it fades and tails off and they go back to being poor, or if it lasts, which there's every chance it could, because it's only got to last for 4 months or whatever. That's all it will take. So as long as Dyche can get that out of them, I'm not sure he's the manager to push Everton on in the long term, perhaps. But I mean, when you're in the position they're in, long term doesn't matter. I know, because we're in that position. Long term, couldn't give a shit. Like, you need to make sure you stay in the league this season, and it's based on the evidence of that game, it's a good hire. So it's certainly not something I wanted to see.
How did you feel? That's what I was going to ask you. How did you feel about watching Everton win?
It was pretty much a terrible day all round, to be honest, watching that and then watching us just roll over. And obviously, Wolves taking Liverpool apart as well. I mean, just a bad day for us. I mean, it showed our deficiencies for sure. But like I say, credit to Dyche, credit to Everton. Interesting that it was his two old Burnley boys that did the damage as well. McNeil onto Tarkowski.
I'm just showing you how this is Google. This is how Everton lined up.
I mean, that's a solid.
It's all
solid
hands
midfield
on defense. Yeah.
I'd like to know what's the average height of that lineup.
Yeah, it's pretty tall, and like nobody's getting through. We got two lines of a wall, and they were ready to get the tie today. It was like, we getting a point out of this shit.
Yeah. But like I think you alluded to it as well. Onana, that was a great performance from him, both defensively and offensively. He was running forward, like he's so powerful when he runs forward with the ball. Like he's hard to stop. And yeah, he was everywhere. He was like two players. He's definitely someone who I think, if regardless of whether Everton stay up or not, he's someone I think will end up at a bigger club. Because he's just a very complete midfielder. So it'd be interesting to see. And like you say, Doucouré back in the team. It's a very, it was a very powerful midfield. Gana Gueye is very sort of tactically astute. He sits and just protects and mans that defense. And then Doucouré and Onana are both runners. They'll get up and down the pitch for you, and they'll contribute attacking. They'll contribute defending. So
and then you got Iwobi too.
Yeah, just a really good performance.
Yeah. What do you feel about Liverpool falling to Wolves, like Brighton Hove style?
That's been the biggest. I think maybe Arsenal's title run, but apart from that, the biggest news headline from the season so far. Like, Liverpool were going for a quadruple 6 to 8 months back.
Yeah,
they were literally like 15 minutes away from winning the Premier League title, and they were in the Champions League final. So this fall, because this is not like the drop off that happened 2 seasons back, where they had a lot of centre backs out, and literally once they fixed that, they became good again. Right now, it feels like nothing in this team is going right. Like Klopp, the Liverpool under Klopp, they have been really solid defensively. But Right now, let me see. I will be surprised if they're even in the top 10, in the top half of goals conceded. Yeah, they're
But Klopp said something that was like, man, maybe they should fire him. Like, and I'm gonna
Did he say that?
paraphrase. No, he said that I thought maybe they should fire him because, first of all, I just remember Conte winning the league and they were 10th, right? They were around 10th and he got fired. And the same thing with Mourinho. And this happens to coaches. That's just one. And he just won the FA Cup and the whatchamacallit Cup. And I know he's brought Liverpool back from not obscurity because Liverpool always is Liverpool, but he brought them back to like to prominence. And but this, you have a Tuchel hanging around out there. Maybe that's what. Maybe this is what I know you want to hear this.
I don't want to see that.
But if Tuchel like is looking at this team and is like, man, if I could just come in, do my Chelsea thing for the end of the season, and then get all those players back, and put my style on these players, because the style that Klopp is running on this team, it's not for these players, or they've run their cycle on it. So like Tuchel to Liverpool, and just what Klopp said, he kind of said he didn't know what was going on, and he is frustrated. Like he almost sounded like he didn't know what the problem was. And when you don't know what the problem was and you're the coach and you're admitting that, that's when it's time to, like, and I wouldn't say, I like Klopp. I'm a Man United fan, but I like Klopp. So I'm not just saying this to be facetious, but maybe it's that time, but maybe they give it more time, he'll fix it. He deserves more time, but also I've seen them fire people from other clubs that's one.
I mean, I don't think the Liverpool owners are going to get rid of Klopp, because that's just going to be the fan base is still backing him, and the fan base, I think, will back him all the way, and deservedly so. Like, this guy did stuff for the club which hadn't been done in like 30 years. So,
right.
So I don't think you're going to have a scenario where Anfield is shouting for Klopp to go.
I don't think there's going to be that. I also feel like because the club is up for sale, part of the value of the club is selling Klopp as the coach. So I think that's probably why the owners got him forwards and got him players, to like try to help. They just kind of maybe bought the wrong people for the first time in his reign. Like normally they pick the right players to get, but I think you don't want to sell just Liverpool without Klopp. Klopp is Liverpool right now more than any other players. So you want to, keep the value of the club up by keeping him. So he should be fine.
And I still feel he is one of the best managers in the world. So
he was 6 months ago.
Yeah, so I don't think things change that dramatically so soon. Maybe there is a certain ripening of the fruit that's happening with this team and this collection of players, in which case the solution would be to innovate a little tactically, find a few different players to because it could also be that he's probably being worked out by a lot of people who've seen his teams play. But as a rival fan, I would actually love Klopp to go, because that I think doesn't help Liverpool.
So that you could win 9th place.
Get that Conference League spot. But I think the right thing for Liverpool would be to just stay the course till the end of the season and take it from there. See what you can provide to him in the transfer market in summer. Clearly, they need legs in midfield, and also, unless there's a situation that he's losing the dressing room, because that's one of the things that gets managers fired, right? Like if you lose the dressing room, and that can happen with bad results. Like in Jose Mourinho's second stint, we had won the league, and he was, him, Jose being Jose, he was the darling of the fans at Stamford Bridge. The team was all for him. They'd spent a couple of seasons with him. But then that next season, results started going so bad. We were in the same position. We were like 15th, 16th. And apparently there was tensions in the dressing room. He lost the dressing room. So it can happen, but there's nothing suggesting that it's happened at Liverpool yet. So
This is how you lose the dressing room, though, when you're frustrated. I don't think he's lost the dressing room. He's not affecting it the way he wants to.
yeah,
And then if he gets frustrated and starts yelling and projecting on them, then he'll lose them. So he's like a one step away, I feel like, from there. Just like if I'm seeing what I'm seeing in the press conferences,
I was
then
gonna say he's
you know,
already losing his shit in press conferences. So
he's
if that's any
unraveling in
indication,
public.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, let's go on to do you want to do Newcastle first versus West Ham? Because Newcastle's in the top, and or let's just talk about Newcastle real fast. The good thing is they drop points. So for Arsenal, two of the teams behind them drop points. United didn't, but Newcastle did. West Ham, David Moyes came back from 1-0 down against Newcastle, who started out on them pretty strong, and West Ham scored. West Ham got this. West Ham is the first person in the Premier League that I can think of that got a Moroccan player from the Moroccan team, and he did good. So it's like, if I don't know why Amrabat is still where he's at.
Oh, by the way, before you get onto this, apparently deadline day, we tried to bid for Amrabat. We went in really hard, but yeah,
I believe you.
Yeah.
I believe you.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, but this guy, he was outstanding for West Ham, like in the way that the Moroccan players played for Morocco during the World Cup. So it's like Amrabat is exactly what like Liverpool needs. Like every play he made during the World Cup was a yell to Liverpool to come get me, and they ignored it. So, all right, cool. So Lee, Brentford versus Southampton. Brentford 3, Southampton 0. Why are you? Let's talk about the game. Why are you super upset about this loss? 3-0.
Yeah. I mean, I got a friend who's a Brentford fan. He was going to the game. And I just said to him before the game, I was like, we can't defend balls into the box. So if you do that, you'll win. They scored 3 goals, all from crosses. We looked crap on the counter attack as well. We only really created a couple of chances. We were just poor. We looked like, and if it wasn't for Salisu at the back, we would have lost even more. He was trying his hardest. He was just overexposed. And it's just one of the things that's been leveled at Jones. Like, we went back to a back 4 in this game, but the previous game we played a back 5. He played like 4 first teamers in a B team game the day before. So on the Friday, he put 4 first team players in a B team game. They weren't starters in this game, but yeah, it's just I mean, I guess this leads into the interview, but I don't think he knows. I think he's out of his depth. Is the long and short of it, in my opinion. He's, he was a gamble by the board. Sometimes gambles, it's the nature of a gamble. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And he's not built any connection with the fans. He's not seemingly built that much of a connection with the players. There's rumours of a fight at the training ground today. I think the players had to go in and train. He substituted Romeo Lavia, who was one of our best players. He substituted him. He claimed it was because he was on a yellow and Brentford were counter-attacking a lot, which is fair enough, but he was also one of the players finding passes into the Brentford half. He subbed him and the fans booed that and chanted that he didn't know what he was doing. And then after the game, in the bizarre post-match interview, he starts saying, was Lavia running the game? I didn't see it. Like, he's basically throwing a player under the bus for something the fans did. And then today or this evening on Twitter, there was some Southampton journalists, some fans were having a Twitter Spaces about whether or not Jones out ? And Lavia joined that Twitter Spaces as well. So,
oh God,
I mean,
you put the receipt of that in the chat, the receipt for that for Lavia join, and that's really him. Huh?
Yeah, it was there. So
it's a Jones out.
I mean,
it's a Jones out room, and Lavia is in it. All right.
Yeah, he's just listening away because, I mean, it's not a good thing when a manager's throwing players under the bus in press conferences and blaming. Like, it was weird. Like, he was blaming loads of other people in that interview. Then he would blame himself, and then he would blame other people again, saying that the team isn't a reflection of him and how he hasn't put his stamp on the team. It's like, well, motherfucker, you've been here since middle of November. Like, if your stamp's not on the team now, like, you're not a Premier League quality manager. You had 2 players away at the World Cup. They both got eliminated in the group stage. You had that time to make the players into your team. Dyche has come in and made a team his team in like 4 days. I mean, how are you not making a team your team after 2.5 months? It's scandalous, really. He's.
But what is he referring to? I don't even understand when he says that I've had to compromise. What's making is the board?
Can I guess?
Yeah, go for it.
I feel like part of the reason why Frank failed, or a lot of teams that get promoted fail, is like, we're going to attack in the Premier League, and it's like, you are not equipped to attack in the Premier League. Like, and if you are, there's a higher learning curve than if you just do what Dyche did. What Dyche did is like, if me and a few guys go to play soccer and 4 of them haven't played since like they were in elementary school, we just were like, hey man, just defend and kick that ball up. Don't, just keep it simple. You know what I mean? So it's easy for what Dyche did. Like, I feel like Nathan feels like when he was with Luton, he played front foot football, organized and structured in a probably complicated way, and he might have shied away from it because he needed the results, because you guys are at the bottom of the table. It's the Premier League. This is the highest level he's ever been at. So he's like hearing all this stuff, and it's like, what's more important? Let's defend. Let's not defend 1 week, and let's defend. And then he keeps going back and forth. And now I feel like he's decided I'm a Luton Town this shit till the day I die. If I die tomorrow, that's it. So I think he's mad at himself because he didn't get the results either way. So he's just going to pick a direction and go there. I don't think he really threw that play under the bus, but football is very sensitive. Like, even the thing Martin put in the chat about Lingard saying the facilities at United are terrible, right? Or behind. It's an accurate statement. When Ronaldo said it, everybody agreed, but it's who you are. You have to be the right person to say the right thing, because sometimes if you're if you say the right thing, if you're not the person they're going to accept it from, you're not the person. So nobody wants to hear Lingard say that, because that's how he's seen Lingard. I don't think, like, if Nathan wants to like play his way, he's admitted his mistakes. So he's not listen, he might have thrown, what's his name, Lavia, under the bus, but he also called himself out. So it's not like he's just blaming players. He's saying, this is the mistake I made, and I'm going to change it now. So I don't think this is bad necessarily, but it is going to be tough to play his style of football with these young ass players in this league that he's never been in before, at this level he's never been at.
What worried me, though, that interview was like a nervous, rambling stream of consciousness, and like I say, it bounced around to so many different aspects. And to me, that didn't look and sound like a Premier League manager. That didn't look and sound like a leader. It didn't look and sound like someone with a plan.
Can I tell you something that's real? When you're a coach and you lose, it gives you CTE, because I've seen Pep ramble. Like his first season in the Premier League.
I mean, this week, Klopp.
It's like, that shit losing. It's like, they should test all the coaches that lose after a game they should run them through the concussion protocol because I like listen, man, like Ten Hag after a loss is completely different than Ten Hag after a win. Like this
I've
shit is
actually
like
never seen a coach who's managed to stay graceful and stay level-headed after when things have gotten bad.
yeah, it's tough, man.
Like one loss maybe, but when things are really going bad, almost all of these guys lose their shit.
Yeah. Although
like-
just keep it short and simple though. Like
Yeah.
I just think it's a real worry that we hired a guy who didn't know what he wanted to do with the team, and he's only claiming now that he's come to a epiphany after 2.5 months. Like you were hired to manage a Premier League football team.
Yeah.
You should have known how you were going to play with that team. You should have known what you wanted to be, because we didn't have time to waste. If you were hired pre-season, maybe you try things out in pre-season. You got a whole, you have time to figure that out. When you're hired, just before Christmas, mid-November, whatever, just for a World Cup break, like that's what that 5 weeks of the World Cup was there for. That was for you to play friendlies, train the team, figure out the players and figure out what style of football would get the best out of that group of players that you've inherited, because that's what you're paid a Premier League manager's salary to do. You're not paid to figure it out in February. That's not part of the deal, and that's what's making me think we've made a real bad choice here. Because, like I say, he wasn't my first choice, but I was open to, okay, well, it might turn out well, it might not, and right now, it's looking bad, and there's rumours swirling around that he might get fired this week. That would be bad as well, because I don't want to have a third manager of the season. That points
What's
to
Hasenhüttl doing?
Probably chilling up in the Austrian Alps. But it's like I've said before.
Back for
he
a booty
was.
call.
It's like I said before though. Like sacking.
You said booty call.
Yeah. Ring up your ex for a booty call.
His phone rings,
Ralph, you up? Yeah. Just a text from the chairman.
Get a little cold up here.
I still maintain though, like sacking Ralph was the right decision. It had gone stale, but we've made the wrong decision here, and we should have sacked Ralph in the summer and had a clean break with a full season to start, and not this weird uncomfortable union that there was at the start of the season. But I mean, if they fired him now, I don't know who they'd hire. I don't know if Tommy T wants to slum it until a bigger job becomes available. Send him down. I mean, I don't know who they turn to after this. If the options are Lampard or Gerrard, then I mean, I'd rather get relegated with Nathan Jones.
Stay with Nathan Jones.
Yeah, I'd rather get relegated with him than either of those clowns. So, I mean, I don't know where it goes from, unless, like I say, there's the one chance that I sort of said in the chat that this might be like a rock bottom moment, where things can only get better from here, kind of thing. Like it might be a rock bottom moment, or we've hit rock bottom and we're just going to stay there for the next few months until we go down as one of the worst teams.
No. He just said that he's done compromising.
Yeah.
He's done.
It's sorted. What do you mean? There's only one. Yeah.
He's done 2.5 months of compromising, and now he's had a vision that he should manage the way he knows and wants to manage. Which it's like, why the fuck didn't you do that from the start?
But listen. It's a joke that Neil is saying, but it is true. But the problem with it is that the fans have switched off. Like if you guys liked him and he gave this speech, because listen, there's a reason he got hired, because y'all wasn't playing good. So it's funny how when the new coach comes in, everybody forgets how it was before. Like the new coach didn't just show up because Southampton decided to change. He showed up because y'all wasn't playing good. So you gotta allow the coach time to fix this. And he does have time to fix this, but my fear is he does kind of have made probably the right decision right now on how to coach the team. And he sounds very optimistic about the new buys. He's talking about them very positively, like he believes in it. So maybe he saw something in training. But if you guys jump off board now, no matter what he does, this is done. So you guys, as fans, have to make a decision to like give him 3 more games.
I mean, we might be adrift by then. But I mean, of the new signings, like, I mean, Kamaldeen Sulemana looked really good when he came on because they were on the bench, the new guys. He looked really good. Paul Onuahu looked decent. Brentford had big physical centre backs, so he didn't quite get as much domination in the area as I'd have liked, but he did win a big flick on. That led to a big chance that we messed up, and then Che Adams messed up the rebound as well.
There it goes. There's a positivity. And don't forget, no matter how good Nathan Jones is as a coach, you still have Che Adams as your number 1 scoring player on the team. And that is
Onuahu's now that he'll be the number 9 now. I think he was just obviously couldn't start him straight away in this game because he only came in on Thursday or Friday. But I think if they stick with Nathan Jones this week, depending on what's gone on at the club in the last 48 hours, if they stick with him, we've got Wolves in the next game. Wolves at home on Saturday, and I think if we lose that game and lose it without really, if we lose unlucky 2-1 to a bad decision or something, he'll be fine. But if we lose that game without really ever looking like we were in the game, that's him done. I think if we lose to Wolves.
But it takes time to implement like this attacking thing that he's gonna have to. I mean, it's almost like Wolves hired the right person. They got even more defensive but better organized with Lopetegui. So it's like he doesn't have to even change much. Like he just has to be more Lopetegui than all the people were before him, and like the guy before him. Like, and then the same thing with Villa and Unai Emery. Even though it didn't work out for Villa this weekend, Leicester had their way with them, like at Villa. Like, but to be honest though, Villa could have been up 4-1 in the first half. Like they blew mad chances. But you guys, like, how many games left in your season?
I mean, let's have a look. It's not that. Oh, where's my phone? Oh, I don't know why my phone's doing this.
Like, I guess what number?
Actually, get my.
What number? Let's see what number game this was for Southampton.
I think it was maybe 21.
So you got how many? 21 from 38.
My phone's frozen up now. I don't know why.
And I could do the math, but I'll do it. 21 from 38 is what? 17? You got 17 left? Yeah, you guys gotta be on board for 17 games. I know it's tough. And I know it's not probably gonna happen, but you guys, because some losses in the next few games, but the team gets together and figures some shit out. It's probably your only chance, right? Because to fire him and get another coach, who's that guy going to be? And how are they going to turn this around? It's just going to be more, you guys might have to like sleep with the enemy until the end of the season. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what his style is, because at Luton, he played different styles in different divisions. When they're in the Championship, they were very defensive and functional. To get to the Championship, they actually played good, fluid football. But he talks about wanting to attack quickly and be front-footed was the phrase front-footed and aggressive was the phrases he used a lot, which is going to be a bit more, not easy to watch football, but hopefully, functional football. And I mean, I don't care what he does right now, as long as he gets results. And that's the thing with football fans. Football fans don't really care as long as you win or as long as you're in games. It's when because we could play defensive football, but if we lose without putting up a fight, fans aren't happy. We could play good attacking football, or not good attacking football. We could try and play attractive football, but if we lose without putting up a fight or really looking like we're going to score, the fans will be unhappy. So I just can't believe that the board didn't sit down with him in the interview process and go, right, this is the group of players. You must have watched videos of them. What is your plan with this group of players? And I want to know what he answered with that, because that surely was a question. And whatever he answered, he fucking lied to get this job. Like I don't know what he did. Like, it's like if I went for an interview for a job and they're like, how are you going to fix this department? And I went, oh, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. I've studied it. That's my plan. And then I get that job and then I, end up bankrupting the company or something. And they're like, why did you not do what you said you were going to do? I was like, I didn't really know. I was lying.
I was just compromising.
Yeah.
But watch me from today.
I compromised my style. And yeah, I listened to the fans. I listened to the journalists. I listened to the players. I listened to everyone but myself. Yeah, so we'll see. Like I say, it's either rock bottom and it gets better, or it's rock bottom and it stays rock bottom.
Would you lie to get a Premier League head coaching job?
No,
that's the problem. That's the problem with jobs. Like, people will lie to get them. They lie on their resume going in.
Yeah,
and it's like, and then
like this is one of the most visible jobs.
Yeah.
Like, you can't fake it. You can't fake it till you make it in the Premier League.
I mean, you could
not in a relegation battle.
You could fake it in and get fired, like Lampard, But yeah, it's rough, bro. Can we? It's good to. I hope this helped you get it all out. I feel like, even though you're angry, I think this has been good for you. This episode, like, just
my little Zoom therapy session.
I feel like me should charge you for this one. Yeah,
I was about to say, you guys need to sign up as Can we get sponsored by BetterHelp or something? And that's what this has been.
Yeah, if you make it through this week, then it's because of us. You know what I'm saying? So you're welcome, bro. I guess I want to talk about United a little bit. Let's just talk about, we won the game. We controlled the game until against Palace, until we had Casemiro, one of our best players and best signings of the season, sent off the field. Now, do you think he deserves a red card for Hughes walking into his clutches and perfectly fitted into his hands, and as if he was trying on a dress at a dressing room, and it fit, and he decided to like hang out in there for a few minutes just because he was just blown away in the mirror at the Italian tailoredness, or the Brazilian tailoredness of the, or if you agree that he should have been sent off, should there have been other players that should have been sent off if you look at the video?
I don't know if you want to cover that one. Did you see it, Neil, at all?
No, the United game. No.
Yeah. I saw it, and I thought it was a weird incident because there was so much going on. There was so much happening,
right?
And I think the Casemiro one's hard because it's twofold. So I think the overriding factor is that he had his hands up towards a player's, face and neck area, which I think, regardless of context, the referees are told to send people off for that. So that's by the rules, but I don't necessarily agree with those rules because I don't feel like he was trying to choke the guy out or strangle him. Like, he had his hands there, but it almost felt like he was trying to restrain him.
Yeah.
Like, he was trying to say, like, stop, whatever you're doing, fucking stop it. Like, that's what he had his hands on him in that kind of fashion. Like, it wasn't I'm trying to like cause this guy damage and trying to, strangle this guy and choke him out. Like, it didn't feel like it was that when I watch it back. Like, and he almost had like part of his like shirt like screwed up in his hand as well. Is it to say like almost like, what are you doing? Like, stop it, kind of thing.
But
so I
also
think,
like, you should know by now you shouldn't do that, right? Like,
you put your hands up there. Unfortunately, you're going to get a red card. But
like, Fabregas, I remember Fabregas did that. Sorry. Fernandinho from Man City did that to Fabregas right at the end of the game. I think this is the Conte's first season, and Fabregas properly milked it. Like, he fell down, went crashing towards the advertisement boards, and Fernandinho got sent off. So I think the moment you do that, you're not really leaving the refs too much of a choice.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Go ahead.
No, as I say, like the referees don't necessarily add context to the situation. It's, does this contravene the rules? Yes. And that's when the red card comes out, regardless of the fact that, like I say, I don't think he was trying to cause him harm. It was a restraint thing. But you put your hands there, you're potentially going to get a red. So Yeah, I mean, he's kind of only got himself to blame. He could have maybe done it a different way. But in the heat of the moment, I mean, that's what he went with. And yeah, you get a red card. And it hasn't cost you the game. It's cost you a clean sheet. And it's cost you Casemiro for, what, 2 or 3 games now, maybe 3 games. Yeah, which is, not ideal, especially without Eriksen now, because Savic is still going to be trying to get up to speed. And he's not the same type of player anyway. So Fred and McTominay are going to be getting plenty more minutes over these.
McTominay's injured.
Is he? Oh dear. That's not good. There's a lot of pressure on Fred's shoulders right now. Then, I mean, you've got the double game week this week, haven't you? You've got Leeds midweek, I think.
Listen, we got 3 games for a few weeks. Like, we got 3 games, like, just coming up back to back to back. Like,
well, at least he's not suspended for cup games, like in European games, so you can rotate there and put Casemiro back in.
Yeah. My thing is on the choke is, you're a ref. You've been in this league a long time. You see the video, and it's not his fault, because I watched them debate this on ESPN, and yeah, you're not supposed to put your hands there, but when you're trying to protect yourself, it's just a reflex, and you're a ref in the EFL, professional soccer, and one thing players like to do is fake hurt when they're not hurt. Now, when the person who you see or think is being choked doesn't even fake hurt, right? It doesn't even fake hurt, like, because if this is violent conduct, where's the reaction to the violent conduct to confirm that it's violent conduct? You know what I'm saying? It's not like it was. The reaction of the player who the violent conduct was allegedly committed against did not react as if violent conduct was leveled against him. Like, and he didn't ask for anything to be done. Like, nobody did. This is just some shit that the ref could have just, like, whatever. I hope this can be appealed, because in the ESPN studio, the angle that the ref was showed, they showed another angle, and it looked way less harmful. Like the thing you were saying, Lee, about you could see that one hand was actually grabbing the shirt and not really a choke. So the ref didn't have access to that angle. It's the angle that the haters at VAR decided to show them, to make it look like the conviction stick. So hopefully this could be appealed. Like, I feel like it might get appealed, and United won the game, so it should be fine. But we'll see. Nobody's thinking or mentioning appealing it, but I think they should try to appeal it. But United won the game, and let's look at this table right quick. Let's look at the.
You're in the title hunt.
Nah, bro, don't even try, man. Not going for that.
It's a title charge.
Yeah, all right.
First time since Ferguson.
Ollie had a title race that ended real fast.
Yeah, he has no title race for a week.
Yeah, for like a week. So Arsenal got 50 points. They're first, but they've only played 20 games. Man City's right behind them with 5 points, 20 games. United is 3 points behind City, and for the first time in a minute, single digits, 8 points behind Arsenal. But Arsenal have a game in hand. Newcastle, they tied with West Ham. Thank you, West Ham. So they got 40 points. They're fourth. Tottenham won. They're fifth with 36 points. Brighton is sixth with 34 points. Brighton, they dropped points this weekend, right?
No, they beat Bournemouth 1-0. Mitoma.
Oh, they beat. Oh, yeah.
Another Mitoma goal.
Header this time. Like, so he could score. Maybe he'll write another paper. He had that paper on dribbling. Maybe he'll write a paper on heading the ball. Mitoma's like scoring from all parts.
Also, I just want to point out, with Bournemouth, who they beat, I pointed out. I think it was like maybe even a couple of months ago when the league started again. I said Bournemouth are going to come down. They were like higher up in the league at the time. I was like, they're going to drop. because I don't think their squad's good enough. And they're only 2 points above us now. I think they've gone on a big losing streak. Gary O'Neill looks like it was maybe a mistake to give him the manager's job. One of those ones where he was the caretaker doing well, and then it looked like it was temporary. It looks like it is temporary now that their form was, good for a little bit, and then they're losing games. They're not scoring goals.
So they're within your range. So that you're happy about that. You get like a new set of people to like try to climb over and get out that relegation. Brentford 7th, 33 points. Fulham 8th after the tie with Chelsea, 32 points. And you know what? Chelsea, that was not a bad performance by Chelsea this week, man. So, you tied with a bunch of new people. Enzo looked great. How you feel about Enzo, that game?
Yeah, Enzo looked great. I mean, he did pretty much what we were lacking in that central midfield role, where he is a little bit of a 6, a little bit of an 8, and has the physicality as a 6. He stopped a bunch of transitions. And going forward, like a couple of his balls were so sweet. Like he did was one switch to Reece James. He did that a couple of times. And, a couple of his balls going forward to the feet of Mount and Havertz are really good. So, of course, I mean, these were, it's baby steps, but I feel there was not, like if that shot, he did this one shot, which, missed the goal by If that had gone in, that would be, I was ready to anoint it, the best debut of the season. But my expectations of this team this season are fairly low. So I'm just taking it in the spirit of, okay, are we doing better than what we were doing? And I think we are. Like even this game, we created a couple of really nice chances, and Havertz missed 2 chances. Fofana, I think he did well to create the space for his chance, but then, his shot was blocked by Tim Ream. So, as opposed to like a month ago where we were not even creating anything, I think we've gone forward a little bit, but it's still way off, being top 4, top 6 level. We need somebody who can score goals, essentially.
You did it against somebody who's a little bit above the table than you, which is weird, but also like they're in terms of like Fulham as a team, they're like toddlers. Like they've they've grown up to toddlers from the beginning of the season, and you guys are a super fetus fighting a toddler, and you got a point. So I give it. What do you think about Mudrik's performance? Oh, before that, like you want to say what you said in the chat about Havertz out loud?
Which one?
Like this Havertz experiment has to stop.
Oh yeah. This Havertz. I mean, I kind of feel bad for the guy because he's clearly not a number 9, and we've now spent. That's another good problem because I've read him by himself give 4 different interviews, and he calls himself a different position every single time. So I don't think he knows what he is, and he's still young. He was still young when he came to Chelsea. So you would think that this is the next stage of his career where you get yourself a set of movements, a role that you're really familiar with and you specialize in. But that never really has happened. Like Lampard used him as almost like a number 10 and an attacking 8, and then Tuchel came in and used him as a striker, and then as one of those, double 10s. And now Potter's come in and just used him exclusively as a striker. So,
is that because other people failed at striker, so they pushed him into this position that he probably is not good for?
Yeah, maybe, but I feel like a club like Chelsea, you shouldn't really be in a situation where if your best striker fails, you just put somebody who's not a striker. You should have 3. You should start every season with 3 strikers that you trust. Like maybe the qualities are different.
And Kuku and Lukaku.
Well, not this season, right? So this season we started with Aubameyang and Broha, and Broha got injured, and Aubameyang is I don't even know what's happening because there's very little information coming out. He's not been registered for the Champions League, and he's not even in the squad this game. And he's in Milan. His brother was putting up pictures on Instagram during the game.
I think Chelsea used him, and he didn't do what they needed him to do. So I just think you may not even see him, especially got all these players here. It's like, why even have this dude around showing up late?
Yeah, but I think David Fofana, when he came on, he was really good. He's taking on players, and I want to see more of him.
Yeah, he was good. I was wondering why they took off Mudryk, and then did he replace Mudryk? There was Fofana, and there's other black guy.
Manduki. Yeah.
He was pretty good.
He was good. Yeah. So Mudryk was playing on the left-hand side, right? So Mudryk, I think the plan was anyway for him to play 60 minutes because the Ukrainian, like the league, he last played in November. So he's not played, or October, like he's not played for a while. So he played against Liverpool 45 minutes, so 30 minutes. Plan was for him to play 60 minutes in the game, the last game. But I think at halftime, he was not feeling well, like he had a cold. And I'm like, dude, you're Ukrainian. You just survived the war. What are you complaining about a cold? So,
yeah,
that was a little weird. But anyway, so he got taken off, and Nani Madueke, he's a right winger. But for some reason, since Mudryk was off, he started playing on the left. And then after some time, Sterling came on, and he went back to his position. So I think Madueke was good, but. Fofana is the guy who I'm really excited to keep seeing. Like I want him to start more games.
Yeah, Fofana had a chance and Reams cock blocked him.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I felt like that was going in.
Yeah, he was, and then Reams was like, "Hell no!" But that was a good move, great control, beat the player, beat the keeper, had the shit wide open. But Reams, like Fulham's, like, nah, Chelsea, none of that, and blocked it. So that's great. Chelsea looks promising. We'll see, man. Like,
but a couple of players like Mount and Havertz, I think they both need to see the bench for a while now. It's just not happening. Whatever it is, that it's not happening. I understand, like with Mount, like there's not a lot of players we have available in midfield right now. But I think if Felix, he comes back from his suspension next game, so he should probably play in that number 10, and you play like two, maybe Loftus-Cheek plays with Enzo Fernandez deeper in the double six. So,
but Loftus is like less of a midfielder than who did they start him with? I'm blanking on
Gallagher.
You don't think they should just try to be a little consistent and do him and Gallagher again?
Well, the thing with Gallagher is, so here's my thinking. My thinking is Enzo Fernandez, from what I've understood, is best in a double pivot. So you need somebody who can play alongside him. Gallagher's is more of like a very high energetic box-to-box 8. So his instinct is always to go forward.
Right.
In which case, Enzo probably has to hang back, which you don't.
But isn't that Loftus-Cheek's instinct too?
But not at that frantic pace. I think Loftus-Cheek also has he can also stay back when he has to, use his body, use his physicality, like to do a little bit of the grunt work that you associate with the DM. So, but on the other hand, Gallagher is always he's always at 100 miles per hour. So, yeah, maybe for continuity, but unless people like Kante, Kovacic are back fit, which they aren't right now.
Let me ask you another question. Do you think Chelsea would have bought this many players, right? If, it's funny how the World Cup created this opening for the 5-sub rule, right? Do you think, if this 5-sub rule didn't exist for this season, because is it going to be around next season?
Yeah.
Right.
I think FIFA mandated it, yeah.
So it's 5 subs now forever?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So maybe if it wasn't for the World Cup causing the 5-sub rule, Chelsea wouldn't have bought this many people. But because of the 5-sub rule, you're like, we can use at least some of or most of these people that we bought. Like,
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't make sense to buy this many people if the World Cup didn't change that rule. So
I think some of these
Yeah.
players we kind of needed. Like I think the midfield, like Enzo Fernandez, definitely needed. We definitely
no,
needed,
no, I'm not saying you don't need them, but
like right away in the middle of the season.
he has the chance to experiment.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't have the opportunity to experiment within games, it would like kill your incentive to stockpile and try to like figure it out. You know what I mean? Because you're like, what's
in the
the
middle
point?
of the season, yeah.
Yeah, what's the point? You can only play 3, but now you could switch half the team.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to Benoit Badashil. He's been amazing, like at centre back. This is the third start, 3 clean sheets and 3 starts. And he and Silva are looking so amazing. Like there's nothing, they barely give any chances away.
Thiago Silva, bro.
Yeah, that guy's
like what
Timeless.
the fuck is going? I mean, this motherfucker is made like a Rolex, bro.
Yeah.
He just keeps ticking on the hour. It's pretty incredible. So
And
I would just run.
Kepa made a great save. Kepa is actually, I was going through the stats. Statistically, he's the best keeper in the league this season. Do you believe that? He is number 2 in save percentage and number 1 in the goals saved above per shot XG.
I can't believe the audacity of you to be like. It's not even that you're just reciting a stat. It's the positivity which.
I mean, you gotta give credit where it's due,
But you wanted this guy put in front of a firing squad and shot just to make sure he couldn't come back.
Because he was so bad. He was so bad. Like he had a historically good season being bad. But now
it's just football is funny, man. Football is goddamn funny. I tell you this.
Yeah.
I'll just keep going through. So Fulham is 8th, 32 points. Chelsea's 9th, 30 points. Liverpool 10th, so crazy, just 29 points. Bananas. It's just, I'm looking at it, but it is what it is. And this is who they're going to be. I don't think they're going to get better much this season. Aston Villa, they lost their 11th, 28 points. Crystal Palace, their 12th, 24 points. They lost to United. Leicester City, they beat Villa, they're 13th with 21 points. Nottingham Forest, they're 14th with 21 points. Did they beat someone, Nottingham Forest?
They beat Leeds.
Yeah, they beat Leeds. Yeah, they've won.
What I will say as well with Forest, it's crazy seeing Keylor Navas in a Forest shirt. His last 2 clubs are Real Madrid and PSG. And then it's like, oh shit, he's playing for Nottingham Forest now. But he made some great saves in that game. Like he was one of the reasons why they kept a clean sheet. He played really well. I don't know, is Dean Henderson injured or have they sent him back to United? What's going on?
No, he's injured. He's injured. I think he's injured for a minute, so they needed to get someone because he's going to be injured for a minute. But now, but is this a loan or did they buy him?
I think it's a loan. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's a loan. Which is why I thought it was odd to get 2 keepers on loan. So I assumed something had happened with Henderson.
Yeah, Henderson's injured.
Oh yeah, he's on loan. Yeah,
he's on loan. All right, so Henderson could.
Hell of a loan signing to get so much experience.
I love Keylor Navas, man. I feel like in the history of goalkeepers, I've never seen anybody underrated for what they've done. Like, does he have the 5 Champions Leagues or 4 or 3?
Courtois got a couple of them.
Okay, so he has 3.
I think he's got more than 1. I know that much.
Yeah, I think he has around at least 3. But to be on Nottingham Forest, based on where they just came from, even though they have a history, he's behind these guys. It'll help him. But Forest, they're 21 points, 14th. Wolves, 20 points, they're 15th. West Ham, 16 points, they're 19th. Leeds, 18 points, they're 17th. Everton, 18 points, they're 18th. Bournemouth, 17 points, they're 19th. Southampton, 15 points, they're 20th. Lee, which one of these teams do you think you could pass? That
Bournemouth
just
for
named.
sure.
Okay, all right, okay.
But
Gotta
I think
have at
that's
least
about
one
it.
or two more. Oh shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who else. We need someone else to have some bad form, and we need to sort our shit out. Because right now it looks like if we sort our shit out, we could maybe pass Bournemouth, but I don't know who else we can jump. So we need to get there.
Tell you one thing, don't believe in this Everton spine. They play great at home, but home is where the only place they're good if they're ever going to be good. And but still, Southampton is in deep trouble. Right? There's, we had this discussion like a few weeks ago. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, because Wolves and Villa were like near the bottom when you got your coach and they got their coaches.
Leicester were too. Forest were too.
Yeah, Villa's 11th, Wolves are 15th. So, and they got Leeds might sink down because the way Leeds. That's wrong. Who's Wolves playing? Wolves is playing shit. You guys?
Yeah, we got them next. That's what I mean. If we lose to Wolves, and we don't really fight, I think Jones is gone.
I think even if you guys fight, you probably lose to them, because if you try to attack Wolves, which is such a counter attacking team, it's just the wrong time to say I'm gonna be me. It's almost like walking right into a bunch of fists. But we'll see. Anything else you guys want to discuss?
Oh, not
I
really.
think I've discussed enough Southampton for 1 week.
Yeah. I'm glad we could help you out there, man. If you guys are listening, I'm going to be at the Hereafter in Seattle this weekend, Saturday the 11th, 2 shows, 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. It's going to be fun as fuck. Come through, stand up, laugh, and party. Let's have a good time, Seattle. See you out there. Anything you guys want to plug? Keep plugging your trip, Lee.
Yeah, follow the socials, Lee Hudson Comedy. I'll be doing some stuff when I'm out there. I'll be doing some stuff here, post all my shows up there. So, yeah, check it out.
What you got, Neil?
At Sawyer's Law, always available.
Are you optimistic about Chelsea?
Sure. Just don't ask me a timeline for it.
Just don't ask you what?
A timeline for it.
If I was
future.
I'd be more optimistic about Chelsea than if I was a Liverpool fan being optimistic about Liverpool right now.
Yeah, well, I still feel they have a better manager, so
What's the so there's the Champions League, there's Europa League, and there's what? And then what's the other one?
The Conference League.
So if United is in a title race, you are in a Conference League race with all your new lives.
Yeah. Only got to get past the mighty Brentford and Fulham.
Yeah. We'll see what Graham Potter got his hand for. Like, he started the season the coach of Brighton Hove. Then he midway, he ends up at Chelsea. And then not just at Chelsea, but the entire Chelsea team that he got inherited has been added to and changed so much. It's this he should be more rattled. But the one thing I do give him in his press conferences, he's calm and cool. I feel like he might be able to pull this off if the fans give him a chance. He's calm, even though he's not always getting the results, and even though the fans are like it's like dating someone who's in love with the last person they dated, and your fans are in love with Tuchel, and this is not his fault. But he seems in public, he's calm, and your reporters be like asking him the hard questions. I'll be seeing some of those press conferences, and he does not rattle. So this is a good sign, because most coaches, they be exhibiting signs of CTE, man, after L's. It's not, it's tough. But thanks again, guys, for joining. It's been a fun episode. Keep watching and listening. Like and subscribe on YouTube or leave a rating on the other platforms. We love you. Be good. One.